StutterOn.
Yeah, like it's like slurred, kind of like slurred speech.
Oh, I see.
A lot of times, or like I don't know. It's really complicated. Like there's some people like have you ever seen people who like have like Parkinson's?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, so like that like affects their. Actually, Fa, you're like you work in like a medical. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
But I work in drug and alcohol. I used to work a lot in long-term care, which I dealt with a lot of like Parkinson's patients, Alzheimer's, rehab stuff. Basically, like retraining older people, you know, who have lost some of their abilities to like, you know, either like physical or occupational type retraining. So but Parkinson's is rough, man.
Parkinson's,
it's rough.
I have a teacher now who also has Parkinson's, and you know when he's talking, his Parkinson's is so severe that it messes up his speech, and it sounds like a stutter, but he's not like a natural stutter.
Yeah.
Just that sometimes he moves his hand and then starts to move his arm, and from his arm, his whole body, and then he just goes to it.
You literally
teacher, right?
Yeah, that's my teacher.
Yeah, you literally lose control of like your movement, your speech, just like
your ability to like
it comes and goes.
Movements.
Trying to hold. Yeah, it's just
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like swallowing that, like when that goes, it gets rough. Like when you see things like not being able to control your bowels, things like that. It gets really nasty. That's crazy. Yeah, actually. I think this was like last year, maybe a couple years ago. It might have been last year, but there was this black lady. I think she was like a chef, and she was big. I think in New York, and she had Parkinson's, and I think your mind also goes. Actually, it might have
your
been
mind too.
Yeah,
wow.
It might have actually been Alzheimer's, but I believe it was Parkinson's. So her husband, right, was like taking care of her, but he was also with this other woman, and they were taking like he was with his wife, but also like
he was cheating on her.
Not cheating. Apparently, she gave him permission to like, hey man, like live. Like when she still had her
because of
mind.
Her Parkinson's.
Yeah, like hey, like live. It's okay to like date people. But it was weird because he was like taking pictures with all of them and like posting it, which is really it's just strange these days.
Yeah,
like everyone feels the need to like post everything.
Wait, who was I'm sorry.
So the husband who was taking care of the wife who was losing her mind or had already lost it at this point. She wasn't really aware of much. He was taking care of her, but was also seeing somebody else, and all three of them would be in the pictures. Like, but she wasn't. Yeah, but she wasn't really aware of it at the time. Apparently, she gave him permission to like do that, to enjoy his like
his life
right. Like which is like which is okay, but
I don't know,
if you have Parkinson's, so if
my two girlfriends,
right, it's weird. It's weird.
Wow. So I mean, if you have Parkinson's, I mean, can't you have sex? Like that's not a problem, right?
I don't think you're having any of that. I don't think so.
I don't know what how it affects your like ability. It depends like how like I guess severe it is, you know.
Right, how severe it is.
I mean,
but how severe was her Parkinson?
At that point, she had no awareness.
Wow, it went on to her brain too.
Yeah, she had no like mental like she wasn't aware of like who he was or anything.
That makes sense why.
Makes sense, but I still don't get. It's like this modern. Like everyone has to share everything these days with the world.
That's a topic. That's a topic we can talk about on the podcast. Yeah.
We are recording, sir.
Oh,
we've been recording for recording this whole 5 minutes.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh no, I thought
just like
warming
talk.
Up.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Should we say like our names first?
No, I think I'm gonna do all that stuff in post.
In the post?
Yeah. I'll probably like do a kind of an outro and.
Oh sure. Definitely.
This was the or like
sounds good.
Yeah, that's all post.
On that topic about social media, I don't get why people always have to post every single thing that is happening in their lives.
Because it's there.
I mean,
it's there.
I know it's theirs, but if we're friends on Instagram, I don't really care what you ate for breakfast. You don't have to take a picture, no matter how pretty your plate looks.
I'm healthier than you.
Exactly. Like, look at my scrambled eggs.
Dude, I'm freaking ripped. Yeah,
it's this
I don't get that. You know?
I mean, you guys, I think, you're 20 what?
25.
Nick, you're 25. You?
28.
28. All right. So I'm 36. So, there's a little bit of space. Like, I didn't grow up with any of this. Like,
this is all new.
It's all new. I grew up at the beginning of the internet becoming a household thing.
Okay.
Like, I grew up like...
You grew up with, like, broadband internet.
No, I grew up with people barely had computers in their houses.
Okay.
I grew up with, like, I had one. But if you see an old computer, it's embarrassing.
80s. Right.
Yeah, like... people like in the 90s. Yeah, 90s.
Fucking giant ass.
It's crazy. Yeah, I was born in 83 and I moved here to America in 93.
Okay.
I was about 10. And we didn't get a computer, I think, till it was either 94 or 95. And if you wanted to get on the web, it was connected to a phone jack. Like a phone jack. So if you were the computer would have to like call into like wherever and then they would have and then it would like somehow link, right? It was really slow, was loud, it would be like
and it had that weird noise, like
weird noise, and it would link up. So but even then, it was slow.
That was back when Windows XP came out, or
Windows XP was like 98, 99, 99. Okay, so it was early, like man. It was just like logging onto the web and just even uploading like a picture to your like screen would be like.
It took
it took like 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and then when high speed happened, it was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. My thing is, did we live better back then than now? Because I feel like there's like an excess for social media like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. People are always on there just promoting their lives, but really their lives are not that interesting, and they make it seem as if they're like, oh, look at me and this
I feel like it's just a part of everyday, like I don't even know if they're putting that much like thought into it. My life is interesting and cool, I have to share. I just think it's a part of everyday life. Some people wake up,
like
first thing some people wake up, first thing they do is roll over and pick up their phone. First thing, before you go pee, before you use the bathroom. That's what I think. The first thing you do is you check your, and I actually don't have any of that stuff. Like, I used to, but it's just like, why?
But like on a psychological standpoint, I think that's affecting self-esteem. Maybe not in our not in our demographic because we're like a bit older, but like kids like in their teens. I mean, the whole life depends on being on Instagram and Snapchat and looking good on those apps, because if they don't, then they'll be shunned by their friends. You know, that they lose that social circle that they're in.
I feel like though, I think an unhealthy thing about social media is just that it forces you to like compare yourself to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're just constantly just like looking through people's like profiles and seeing your newsfeed and seeing like what they're doing, I feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. And I just feel like without social, if you didn't have that, I feel like it just would be better, I guess. Better. You know?
Yeah. Maybe. The word, I mean, when we didn't have all that stuff, like I tell my kids, my oldest is 12, right? Yeah. So they've grown up with the way things are now with smartphones. Like, I think there's validity to what you're saying, but I'm not sure if the world was better when I was young.
Or not
younger.
Better. I just think
I feel like all this stuff adds to life. Yeah. It's definitely maybe at this point by some people being used incorrectly, maybe too much, but I think it's all relatively good. It's all good, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's pros and cons, you know.
Right.
I think a lot of people complain about how people are just on their phones all the time and just like not involved in like socializing with other people. But the thing is like that happened in the past too, you know. Like if people don't want to socialize with people, they would like read a book or something. So I mean there's still that.
There's always something to avoid talking, right?
Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of kids these days probably know how to talk and interact less than say we did. Yeah. But honestly, I've never been a good interactor. Like I've always avoided interacting with people just because of my stuttering. Right. So in that sense, I'm kind of like them in that way where I've just the idea of like walking up to somebody and introducing myself and striking up a conversation. There was no point in my life where I would do that. Right. I mean, I'm probably the most confident I am now, and even now I don't do that. So
right. I mean, it's crazy to think when you look back. I remember when I was in high school, like if like I didn't know anybody in that class, I wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm
not striking up a conversation.
Yeah. and then freaking like stuttering, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, like what the fuck?"
Yeah. Right. Like what is happening? You know that look where they're like analyzing.
Yeah.
Like
figuring you out.
Yeah, it's just like, like what's happening to you right now?
Yeah.
I hate that look.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I hate that.
Yeah, right. When it kind of goes from like listening to like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, like, are you having a seizure right now?
Yeah. Dying? Like, what's wrong?
Yeah, no, it happens a lot, but I think people just don't know. They
don't know. Yeah.
I think the amount of people that have probably walked around their whole lives and never even heard anyone stutter. I think that's most people. Most people have never even heard it.
Yeah.
It's like, especially like if you live around here, just imagine being a kid who stutters. You're done. You're done. You have no social life. Every kid is making, no matter
you'll be the fun.
Like you're a joke. Like they will eat you for food. Let alone like, maybe you find one or two kids that are like knowledgeable enough or kind enough to be like.
You did say something when we were like here before Nick walked in, that living like in this zone here, like Frankfurt and Holland, like most people here, they don't pass like their level of education is like high school.
Most of them,
Most of them.
I mean,
so
that's
like
a broad.
Ignorant to what it is. People who stutter or have Parkinson or something like along those lines. So they see it as oh no, this guy must be an idiot. So
they automatically equate it to your mind
like
or
you're not normal. So they'll mock you for that. Now, if you grew up maybe somewhere more where people went more than just high school and went to college, I guess they'll treat you more respectfully because they're more open-minded.
Yeah, I think.
Saying I think it's all about location too.
Yeah, I think definitely like adults. I think for kids it's different. Kids it's it's a whole different story. But I think in as adults like we're more mature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think at least in my experience, like people don't like really. They're most people in like a work setting are like mature enough to like not kind of treat you like crap.
No, right.
Yeah,
I guess
there are assholes out there, but I think most human beings are at least like they're not that evil where
they're not trying
they
to, like,
know what's happening and then they'll use it to hurt you. Like most people aren't that cool, but most adults are polite enough to at least hold back their laugh or whatever. However they want to react, that'll make you feel bad. Most adults will be like, okay, I understand what's happening. So,
and like some people will do things that will kind of like piss you off. That's like not really like they think they're helping you.
It's not intentional.
Like,
yeah, it's not
it's
like, not intentional. Yeah,
like people saying like, oh, like slow down, like think about what you're gonna say before.
Breathe.
Like it's out of good intention. But
I hate when they say breathe. It's
breathe.
Like
I'm breathing.
I
breathe. I'm breathing. I have to breathe or I'll die.
Yeah, so it's all out of like because they think that stuff is gonna like help you, but I mean, but that's like why we got to speak up.
Exactly.
That's why we can't be quiet. Like that's why.
I
think it's easier said than done, right?
Sure, it's hard.
It's hard. But I think when we're just like, I don't know, at least in my experience, like when you're just upfront about it and you're like, oh yeah, I stuttered and like I don't care. I feel like people like are like receptive to that. And
do you guys ever reach a point where you do not care? Because like it's still hard for me to like advertise. So like I care. Yeah, I care. There's never a point where I'm comfortable telling somebody that, or I'm comfortable with it in general. There's no point where I think tomorrow, if there was like a magic treatment or a magic pill, and it worked for most people, right? Like if it cured most people, the health risks were low.
Yeah.
I would for sure do it. Even if the health risks were high, I might do it. I just might. Like
no matter the side effects.
Short of it like killing me or anything really like if I was bleeding out of my asshole, like then I'll be like, all right, nah, I'm good. but like short of anything like that, I think I would at least try it, right? Like no matter how comfortable I get or I claim I am.
Oh, man.
It's like, darn, do I want to stutter or like bleed out of my asshole? Like,
I don't want to bleed out of my asshole.
No, that's not terrible. How much awful?
Like I don't want that
all day. Like this blood is
just like
coming out of your butthole.
Depends how much blood we're talking about. If it's like a small stain, I don't mind because I'm mostly wear black under the wear, so it's not gonna show. Now if it's like a lot of blood coming out of like waterfalls, then maybe you're right. But having to disclose to a girl that you
stutter is easier than having to explain to her why you have droplets of blood in your pants.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
I think either.
I think like, so let's say you're with a girlfriend, right? And you say like, I have this medical condition where I like have blood that comes out of my butthole. Like, I think like she's gonna be like, oh, like he can't control that. Like that's just like something. Versus like the thing.
And nobody wants to deal with like uncontrolled bodily fluids. Like the blood, your blood, nah.
But however, I think the problem is people think like stuttering is something people can like fix or can like control.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we have speech therapy, and, like, there's stuff that you can do in speech therapy, but, like, people think, like, stuttering is, like, this easy thing that you can fix. Like,
yeah.
It's not like that.
It's not an easy
It's just, like, recently I spoke to my dad. You know, I was asking him questions. And the whole time, my older brother, who also stutters, right? He's like, dude, stop. Like this won't go well. You know, I'm asking my dad questions, and I admit maybe it wasn't the best time. Maybe I didn't like put enough thought into it. Maybe I didn't ask the right questions. Maybe I didn't ask them properly. Maybe I had a tone. Like, I'll accept some responsibility, but he got upset at me. Like, because to him, like to him, it must have come off like I was blaming him, which I don't feel like. There was a time in my life where I did, but now that I know more about it, I'm just like, that's ridiculous. Of course, it's not his fault. Of course, there's nothing that he did to make me, speak like this, but I must have come off a way to give him that impression. Now, the way he reacted was telling of how I think ignorant people are about it. He told me, you're an adult man. Why don't you correct it? Like, you can get rid of this thing if and I didn't even know where to begin. Like, you don't know. Like, I may never get rid of this. Like, my only real option here is just being okay with myself. Like, there's no other option. Like, I'm gonna probably live my entire life like this, and if I don't start just being okay with it, then it's gonna drive me crazy, and it almost drove me crazy. So I think people just don't even understand what it is.
I think the worst thing you can do is never accept the fact that you stutter, because I've done that, and what makes me is more angry with myself and all the other people that picked on me. You fill your heart with like a lot of remorse, and that's gonna slow you down. That's why I went to the speech program in Temple, because I needed help. Like that was like, but whenever I stutter, I feel so bad. I feel inferior. I feel like I'm, like I'm not normal. And I know that I am. So why do I have to feel bad whenever I stutter? It came to the point that when I was in class, and I knew the answers to one question, I didn't raise my hand, and then someone else did. And just by listening to the voice, the way they spoke, it made me angry, because I can't speak as fluent as them. That means that I'll never get a job or a girlfriend or friends. Like, stuttering became like a way to put myself down. So I was like, no, let me just accept the fact that I stutter now, because then, it's just you become depressed.
And it just makes it worse.
So I'm just like practicing to like learn how to accept it now before it's too.
Me too.
Late.
Me too. That's recent too. Like. I mean, I think I went through my worst period the end of 2018. Like, that's how I got to this point where, like, I can record my... Like, the idea before, I think, October of 2018, the idea of me publishing my recorded voice on the web was crazy. Yeah. I would have never even... That idea was like, are you insane? Because... I almost drove myself to madness. Like there was a point where I did not want to live. Like, yeah, because I think up until that point, I was still holding, like, deep in my mind, I was still holding out for like that pill. like God damn, all this shit, you motherfuckers are, you know, you're on Mars and you're doing all the, like, this. I was still in my mind, like, somewhere.
Wait, you said Mars?
Just the idea of all this technology, all the things people can do. Yeah, it's like this dude is trying, like, you can launch a rocket out of the atmosphere and land it back on another continent, but you can't, like, help me, right? Like, I was still holding out for that magic pill, and literally, man, I was this close to just being like, I am going to end this. I don't want to be here. So I checked myself into, you know, a behavioral health place, and I've just been working on it. You know, I've made a big jump. Like, there's been a big change just because I was like, okay, I just have to be okay with this. Yeah. And it is okay. There's times where it's hard, but for the most part, when I stutter, especially in front of people badly, I used to beat myself up about it.
That's what I'm saying.
It would just replay in my head for weeks. For weeks, I would just replay that moment, like, God damn, you idiot. Did I say that? Like, you idiot.
Just like,
you couldn't just get that out right. Like, but now I'm just like, eh.
And you know, the stupid thing is that those people, they don't care because they keep on living their lives.
They just move on.
Yeah. And then us, we're like, God, why did I say how's that way? How's, like, no.
Yeah, you just replay it. Like, I feel like you're embarrassed, but I think they're also embarrassed too.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're embarrassed.
But I feel like they feel more embarrassed because they're watching you and they see how much you feel that you just struggle. You feel sad, so they feel like, okay, let me just walk away because maybe my presence is making you more
maybe
scared or
who, I mean, you never know what's in anyone's head. So
besides, maybe this is like a insecurity that we have, but I've met so many people that don't stutter and they are more insecure about simple things that I'm not. Which is surprising. So why should I feel bad about stuttering? It's not
I've always felt like, all you people just walking around, you take it for granted.
Yeah,
just like, what the hell? You can say anything whenever you want, perfectly fine. Any idea that pops in your head, you can just out with it. But everyone's riddled with anxiety. Everyone.
I used to have this girlfriend. We had the same class last semester, and we had to present almost every single Friday. And she used to get really nervous. I'm talking about, she used to sweat, her hands, and I used to look at her and I'm like, if you only knew how nervous I am, because I have a real reason to be, because I'm standing up and talking for like 15 minutes. And you know, you don't stutter yet you're going through all that. And then she gets up before her turn goes to the bathroom, throws up, and then goes back.
Whoa.
Walks back. And I'm like, why am I feeling bad? I mean, there's people that deal with other, struggles.
There are men out there who are so self-conscious about losing their hair that they get weaves. They get lace front wigs, and it looks like your hair. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just everyone has something that bothers them about themselves.
Yeah.
And just at the end of the day, there are positives to having a stutter. They're harder to look for and but they're absolutely there.
What do you guys think are the best things about stuttering?
I think so. I remember one of my classmates, she was saying I don't know, we were just talking and she was saying it's just really inspiring that you're doing the job that you do and you stutter and you don't seem like you care about it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just really powerful, I thought I don't know. I mean, I don't expect that to happen, People don't normally say that. I think sometimes you feel like people don't really care.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people do care. I think when they see you succeed and be successful and you stutter, I think they're oh shit, dude, he can do this. If he can do this and stutter, maybe I can do what I'm afraid of.
Right. True.
True. Just especially when it's a talking profession, I'm going to school to be a speech therapist, man. It's freaking scary, dude.
I mean, look, you guys are crushing
horrifying.
it. The idea of college to me was there's no way. College, I'll never make it. High school was so tough in my mind back then. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the back of my mind, I didn't even know if I would allow myself to be alive this long, let alone experience things and experience life. It held me back from true friendships. From really, I was married, for a while. I mean, I've been with the same person since what was that, 2005, off and on. But how much it didn't occur to me how much I was allowing my state of mind to hurt her. There was so much time, for so long I just didn't allow myself to really open up and enjoy things and enjoy life and experience people and friendships and relationships. Just the idea that anybody would want to be my friend without thinking that I was strange. I just didn't think that was ever going to be possible. So
is there anything positive that you think you'll have because of stuttering?
I think I'm very aware of people and how they may be feeling, and myself in relation to them. I'm aware. I'm very aware, of things because I don't know if it's because I spent so little time speaking and I observed a lot more than most people would.
You become more self-aware.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I was in my head all the time, but I definitely feel like I'm more aware than the average person of other people.
Yeah, I feel like stuttering makes me more compassionate about all the people's struggles.
Yep.
I think one time you told me that you think that people who stutter are generally good people.
Yeah.
Generally,
I think because of stuttering, it humbles you down.
I feel like
more humble.
I feel like about 99% of the people that I've met who stutter are like nice. Like I haven't met people who are like that guy's an asshole.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
There was maybe a couple people I met who stutter that were like kind of shitty, but
yeah, I will say this too. I think stuttering almost made me pathological. In that,
pathological.
I don't know, in a way where I was never really comfortable with who I was.
Okay.
So it caused me to do things that I didn't realize was hurting other people around me. Maybe I wasn't as honest as I should have been with myself and with them. Yeah. Maybe at times I even lied or exaggerated or hid things. So I feel like in that way, like if I wasn't so aware of myself and like my behavior and I didn't want to change it,
yeah,
I think I could have, I could have went into like a really deep, dark place.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
dark
but
place. Yeah. There was one time that was before doing psychology that was doing social work, and I had this teacher that I think she misinterpreted me, because in that classroom we had to like speak almost every single day, and back then that was like 4 years ago. I was really into my stutter more than now. I mean, now I feel like I'm more open. But back then I was like, I was trying my best not to stutter, and I used to hide words, or I used to lie to not like.
Yep.
And I think she just thought that I was too that I had a low self-esteem. On the last day of class, she called me out and said, "Listen, I don't think you're gonna make it in this field. I think like your self-esteem is too low. I think you have to work on your self-esteem."
What?
And also
for social work?
For social work.
What?
Well,
for social
in
work.
all fairness,
I mean, it makes sense.
Was
because
what she's saying completely wrong? Maybe the way she went
I guess. Well, she also said that you have to work also with your English, because I think you haven't mastered your English well.
I think you're undergrad.
That was
It's undergrad. This isn't grad school.
And I think she took the stuttering as if that was like mentally.
And she's a social worker?
And she's a social worker.
Oh, that's scary.
Oh my god.
And that made me so angry.
It's scary when professionals, like college educated people, especially somebody in psychology and social work, it's scary to me when they're so unfamiliar with like when I have to explain stuttering to that kind of person. Like,
but she knew that I stuttered, but I guess she equated stuttering with me having a low self-esteem.
Oh, that sucks.
Not knowing the oral language well. One time we had to read a case study, and I was stuttering because it was me reading out loud in front of a big class. So I was stuttering heavily. I was like blocking in each word. So I guess she took that as, oh no, he's not. He's just not capable of doing this. I mean, you're just not.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I feel like that's what we have from stuttering. It's like we're aware of that. Like, if people like, and if they have other shit going on, like, we're not gonna quickly judge them and be like, oh, this person like didn't work as hard, or this person like isn't as smart or something like that. Like, we're not gonna make those judgments because we know, because we deal with that shit all the time.
Yeah, it's just like there's always more behind that. Most people would just hear us speak and just assume, oh, he isn't confident. Oh, he's scared.
Which is complete.
He's nervous.
It's complete bullshit, because you're confident. You're confident as well. I feel like I'm super confident too. It's just that we just stutter. I mean, it's just something that we do. It's not like we're not gonna, call someone and
it's really our one obvious flaw.
Right.
Like it's just the one thing that you could pick out right away. That's like, yeah.
But then people have flaws.
Just
that we just us is like verbal. But I met people that have like really stupid reasons to be scared or have a low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Things that I don't really see as a problem. Like, dude, why you can't? That like my ex, like she used to throw up before doing a presentation, which I thought was like, whoa, why? I mean, it's just
it's dark. It's dark.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's dark.
Wow.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if we left it up to fluent people, that's how they're gonna paint us in everything.
Yeah.
In books, in movies, and like that's how they're. Have you guys seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I saw it again to make sure.
Stutters in that, right?
Yeah.
Leonardo
DiCaprio.
Oh, really?
DiCaprio, the main guy.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I thought that he was just like talking like that because he was going through something. He was losing his shine.
Which is like, they always do that. Whenever they want to show that a character is like weakened in some way or not confident or not strong, or it's just like they always kind of use that. And I wonder why you like. He did a great job in that film. He acted his ass off.
That was a damn good film.
Man. What if they just removed that one part? Would it have changed it?
You mean change the character?
Yeah, like would that have made you feel less like he was in pain or hurting or trying to I just wonder why they have to add that little thing about this one character. It was the same thing.
Now you think they made that as a form of mockery?
Maybe not mockery, but I
just
just think most fluent people see that as a flaw that's telling about your personality.
Right.
Yeah, like if you don't speak fluently, like it means that you don't have your life together or something.
Right.
That isn't true.
You weren't raised right, or you had an overbearing mother. There's a trauma. You're not confident.
Yeah.
You're afraid. Yeah. It's just like there's always some there's some undertone of something like that there all the time.
True. I think that's why self-disclosure is key, because that way you're like pouring out the elephant into the room and say, hey, listen, I stuttered just in case you know, and then that person knows. What would they do with that information? It's up to them. And whenever I self-disclose, mostly people are like, okay, no, yes, it's fine. But then I met others that they still look at me with like they make those grimaces in their faces as if that you're weird. But that's a few. Most people are like, okay, I understand. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, and also like telling people like what to do and what not to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like for example, like finishing people's people sometimes try to finish your sentence, right? And just being they think they're helping you, but be like, hey, like don't finish my sentence.
Like I know what I'm saying.
I know you have good intentions, and I know you're just trying to help me, but like I know what I want to say. It's just sometimes I like will repeat things or pause.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's like a kind of what's the word? Yeah.
People do that. I mean, I honestly think they don't know, because my kids do that to me, and I know they're not trying to hurt me. I know they love me. I just think it's kind of natural for people to do.
Right.
Like when you pause, there are times where people don't even know I stutter yet, and they still do that. I think it's just natural for people to try to like complete
help you out, right?
Yeah. They may not even know
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because like if you're pausing, they like think that you're trying to figure out what word you're trying to say.
Exactly.
And so they're like, "Oh shoot, does he need help?" Like,
Right.
Because like people do that, you know. People will be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm going to what's that place called?" And like they'll do that, and so they might think like, "Oh shoot, he needs help like finding the words."
Right.
And we all like help him out.
And I think people who are fluent, they take it for granted. So I think some people, they do take pride in like trying to figure out what you're trying to say before you get it out. I think there's a little bit of that. There's like,
a little bit of pride of
yeah, it's just like, oh, I knew what you were thinking. Like,
Yeah.
bingo.
Yeah.
Right.
Word,
like,
yeah.
me too.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man, I can read your mind. Like,
Yeah,
a mind reader.
I think there's a little bit of that too. But I have to tell my kids sometimes, it's like, no, you have to like let me say it.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching them just like how to interact,
With
you know,
someone who
with
started-
somebody. Yes, it's
That's
like
so good.
I'm
So good,
teaching
yeah.
them
That's so
like,
good.
look, you're gonna come across somebody in
yeah.
school and in high school and college at some point in your life, and because you've been interacting with me your whole life, you already know what this is, how to treat the person, and how to go about just interacting with them so they don't feel strange. So you don't
Yeah.
make them feel strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to like let the next generation know about
Yeah.
what is
Sure.
because most people don't know. You know?
Which is what we have to do. Now,
Yeah.
my oldest is 12. My other two kids are 7 and 6.
Oh.
So, they're still young. They're all fluent, but I mean, internally, I'm just like, yes. Like I won't lie. Like yeah, like
No, I get
and
it.
just like the two
I get it. I get
smaller
what you're saying,
ones,
that.
just like just get to like 12.
Right.
And I know you're out of that like
That age range.
that age
might-
range where
yeah.
it could still happen. I'm just
What
like,
is the age range for the age of onset that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's normally like honestly, it's normally like before 5 years old. Like,
Okay.
That's when. So if it's past like,
She's good.
but the problem is
good.
like you just don't know.
just
Yeah.
don't know.
You
Yeah.
don't know. But it's very rare. Like after 5 years old, it's very rare that
Rare.
people like develop like stutters.
Oh,
Awesome.
Interesting.
See, that
Yeah.
makes me happy. Just
Yeah.
because I know the personal pain that I went through
Yeah.
to even
Yeah.
get to this point.
You don't want them to
I,
go through that.
I would never want that. Like
Yeah,
no matter
same.
how proud I am, no matter how far I've come, I just don't want that. Like they're already, you know, being who they are, just
Because
you
life
know,
has
being
so many precious.
yeah,
things,
being
so
young,
don't
being
wanna
black,
have-
being whatever. There's always something that comes with just being alive.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they don't have this because I know what this is.
That
so
stuff. that
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, one thing though is that I personally feel like if someone develops stuttering later in life, I think that I mean, this is maybe not what everyone thinks, but I think like that they've had stuttering in the past, but kind of how like we kind of go through like moments where we just like don't stutter at all, and
Yeah.
sometimes we go through moments where we like stutter a lot. I think sometimes like if like people develop stuttering later in life, I think maybe perhaps they did stutter when they were younger, but maybe they were just going through just a moment in their life where they were speaking more fluently, and then maybe something might have caused them
happened. Yeah.
to stutter again. But I think, the thing is, I think people don't understand about stuttering that I kind of wish people kind of did understand is the fact that stuttering is like neurological. It's something literally in our brain that looks different than other people's brain. It's not this like yeah. So if like there's a lot of studies that have shown that like our brains look differently than people who are fluent.
That's interesting because I always feel like, you know, in this quest of like research and information, people feel like they have to like pinpoint, right? But I do believe you. Part of it is neurological, but is it also possible that part of it is genes?
Yeah,
Is it possible that
it's genetic?
Maybe not for everybody, but it can also be trauma. Maybe it can also be physical, right? Like, isn't it? It's probably like a combination of a wide range of things.
Yeah, so like it's a combination of like your environment,
right?
Like genetics, your brain chemistry. But I think what it is though like trauma and just other stuff like that. Like it just it just makes it worse, you know?
Right.
I think that's
So you don't think somebody who was genetically predisposed to stuttering, like if you didn't have whatever genetic, you know, markers, you don't think that person could become that way from a traumatic event, from like if you fell out of a swing and hit your head, to like sexual trauma.
So like that, there's also like stuttering caused from just like brain injuries and just like it's called like neurogenic stuttering,
right?
Which is like, but that's different though.
That's not what we're talking about. Yeah. I'm talking about like what we have, the way we do it, because you had an aunt or maybe an uncle in the past that, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
like is that possible?
I don't know. I think it's rare. I think normally like the most common thing that happens is like the kids will stutter when they're really, really young.
Right.
And like they'll either like they'll get therapy and not stutter at all for the rest of their lives, or they'll stutter for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. So it's like a 50-50 chance. It just depends on different variables.
Yeah, there's so many. It's like a bucket, you know. Like, like I remember, like we use this like image to kind of explain like what causes stuttering. Like it's like this bucket where like just different things are pouring into the bucket. So it could be genetics. So that's a component. It could be just your environment. And there's so many things that like related to a person's environment that does affect stuttering and make it worse.
Yeah.
And then also just the brain chemistry.
Brain chemistry stuff. Yeah.
But I think people a lot of times think like stuttering is this like thing that you can like easily fix, or is this thing that this like behavior that you intentionally like learned or something. But
so I was told that when I was younger that my older brother stutters, and there was a period in my life, like it's hard to pinpoint where it came from, because at one point my parents told me that I copied from my brother, and when I got older and I looked it up, I was like, nah, that's not how it happens. Yeah. So like, and when I asked them recently, the narrative changed. Like I don't even think they remember that they used to tell me that. Yeah. So now I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's like stuttering's not a normal like speech disorder, you know. Like people like people who like mispronounce their R's or something, right? So like that's something that oftentimes like early on when you're working with kids, like that's something that like for the most part you can easily like fix by just like drilling that and just like kind of working on that. But versus stuttering, like so much stuff is affected by stuttering. Like you can literally like talk to one person and not stutter at all, but then you like talk to this other person and stutter on like every single word.
Yeah.
Like if you can't pronounce your R's, that's not gonna matter. Like that's not gonna matter like as much.
Yeah, I have a niece and a nephew. They had like a speech impediment when they were kids. I think it was like maybe it was with their R's, but it was kind of like there was a W kind of
sound.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
they spoke. But they went into therapy, and like now it's
Yeah.
It's gone.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if like stuttering's not like that, like
No,
with,
it's not,
with
it's
like
not, yeah.
past like I mean maybe when with younger kids, there's things that you can do to kind of like adjust the environment so that they kind of like eventually like don't stutter.
Yeah.
But the thing is like past 5 years old, like it's not like something you can just do by being like, yeah, just don't stutter. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing
It's
this.
like I'll just train this
It's not a habit.
way. Right.
It's
It's yeah.
What our habits are like the things that you like do when you're stuttering, like
Right.
when people like look away or when someone like
That's a
clenches
big-
their fist,
Big
you know,
one.
when
Or
they're
like
stuttering. Or
like
tapping
me
your
I
foot,
tap,
like,
I'll
yeah.
like yeah.
Those are habits,
Mhm.
but the stuttering itself isn't like a habit that you can like just like take away.
take away. Yeah.
It's just complicated. Like
It is. It's
Yeah.
complicated because there's no. You can't really rehab it. Like there's no
I mean,
way to train
you
it
can.
away, right? Like
There is. I think it's kind of like so. There is therapy that you can kind of like, kind of change your voice to like basically kind of like change how you talk.
yeah, but
That makes stuttering
I've tried
less.
that. I've tried to like speak in another tone so that and
Yeah.
and if I do that, I think it would honestly work. If I changed the way my voice came out, I think I could get away with that most of the
But-
time. But I don't. That sounds so unnatural to me. I know that's not me, so I don't want to walk
Well,
around
I
talking
mean,
like
but
this.
Actors, they do that all the time, and I've heard of actors that also stutter, and what they did was that they changed their voice, and that helped them a lot. And then I met, and I think I was on Google, and I heard that people who also stutter and they went through that voice changing therapy, like it works for a time, but then your stutter will creep back
Yeah.
up.
But
Yeah, it's in the like
the-
your mind will eventually like reach that point where that one
Yeah.
trick it won't work, right?
But the reason why it like people have like a lot of relapse from doing that kind of therapy is because you're not treating the like the underlying issue,
Which
It's-
is what?
which is basically it's what I
Accepting the
think
stutter?
is like avoidance of stuttering. Right?
Avoidance of stutter, right?
Stuttering is a weird thing where I feel like it's one of those things. The more that you avoid it, the worse it becomes.
Yeah. Because you're not
Maybe.
letting your voice,
It's
you're
weird.
not
like it's not
speaking
a normal
freely.
thing.
So
Being covert works though, right? Like not psychologically, not
for some things,
all of those
not
tricks
all the time.
you come up with, they work for the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
What are your tricks that you do to?
I don't know.
Works for
I think not making eye contact, which I work on a lot these days. I think I do like this a lot. Like if I have a hard time, I'll like, it's kind of like a beat in my head.
Yeah.
I'll try to like,
Yeah.
but I think those are the two main
Reasons that
the two main
yeah.
ticks I have, I guess.
Yeah.
I think my
But-
tics would be that I speak faster because
Yeah.
I think that if I speak faster, then I avoid the chances to stutter. But then that makes it worse because I'm speaking faster and then I'm also stuttering too. So it's like the person can't really understand me because of those two things.
Yeah.
Fast talking and then stuttering in certain words too.
Man,
It's
So-
hard. Like you got to figure out like what behaviors like actually help me and what doesn't help me.
I'm kind of
Right.
at the point where like, however you can communicate
like exactly what you want to communicate, it doesn't matter. Like if you have to tap and bang and
whatever,
blink your eyes really fast, like whatever helps you say the words you want to say so the person understands exactly what you're trying to say, do that.
Yeah, and I think I think that also like tension too. I think one challenging thing too is that I think if you have more tension when you're like on the walk, I think that's kind of one thing that is hard to like.
Tension is always hard.
Deal with,
What I do is, because I have to like stand up and do presentations and that's always hard. So I went to a psychiatrist and he gave me Xanax, which it does not help with. It doesn't fix the stutter.
Of course not. That's crazy.
But it takes down the anxiety and the tightness. And then when I stand up, I'm not so self-conscious yet. You know?
Really?
No.
You feel like it helps?
It helps in the sense because anxiety to me is something that I always had. So I think anxiety makes my stutter worse.
Sure.
If I'm standing up and it's like 5 Nicks and then 5 Hefes in his room. So sorry. It's
fine.
like, oh, okay. Now I have to talk. Oh man, I feel so tense, so tight that my jaws tend to like clench.
Sure.
And I can't speak.
I
then
also
the stutter gets even worse.
I also feel like it's everyone like stuttering is unique to every person.
Exactly.
So I think that's why. One, it's hard to pinpoint. It's hard to figure out where it comes from, what it really is, if it's neurological, if it's genetic, if it's environment. It's just hard to make that magic pill because everyone's
has like one specific.
Everyone's is really unique.
Yeah. And it's the brain.
And
right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And like the brain is like
so mysterious,
so incredibly complicated.
Yep. We just don't know enough about it yet.
Yeah.
Let alone to pinpoint that one thing, that one part. But
one thing I can say about stuttering that is also positive is that stuttering helped me meet more people that also stutter, because for a long time I thought I was the only person
I was
stuttered.
like, why am I the only one on this planet with this?
Why am
It's like I had to be like one of 2 people in this world.
The whole world. It's like,
but
God damn it.
And for a long time, I didn't think females, I didn't think women stuttered for a long time. It wasn't until this last year that I was like, holy shit, it might be an equal amount.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh,
no. I was gonna say that Carmen is like the only female that I know that stutters.
Dude, that's why I'm telling you.
I can't wait to meet more females that stutter too.
My speech therapist is a woman,
and she also stutters too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at
that!
Like
lifelong. She was like the first person that I went to or that I met or opened up to when I like got to this point where I was like, okay, I gotta like be proactive about this.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
nice.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
She's speech therapist. I forgot what school she went to, but yeah,
cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that's exciting about like going to like the chapter meetings, but also like going to other like events or like going to the conference. I think that's one thing that was really blew my mind. You go to the conference,
I've never
and it's
been.
just like
a whole bunch of people.
Never been.
Stutters.
Yeah, but
it seems cool. A hotel room, a hotel full of. It's like it's just it's crazy.
There might be a New York like city conference pod, like a 1-day conference.
There's a friends conference, a 1-day friends conference on the 15th.
Yeah, or
this month.
February. Are you guys going to that? I'm probably gonna go.
I think I will. Yeah, I think they have it at Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at Chop.
Yeah, it's like $25.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hey guys, my name is Afe, the host of StutterOn podcast. This is all new for me. My first two guests were Nick and Rolando. Those are two guys I met in my stuttering group, and I guess that is my rule number one for all the fluent people out there who might want to know how to interact with people who stutter. Trying to introduce yourself is one of the hardest things that a person who stutters can do. Chances are, if you meet somebody who stutters and they have to introduce themselves, they've been thinking about that moment for a long time before they reached you. They've been thinking about that moment where they would have had to say their name at some point that day. So try not to take that for granted. Most people who stutter very badly on their name. So try to keep that in mind. Again, my first two guests, I want to thank Nick and Rolando. Those two guys are cool. Whenever we meet and talk, it's always fun. But yeah, I got my first episode out, and I hope to do a lot more of these. I hope to improve and grow with all of you. Try to spread the word. It's going to be more building of this podcast as I continue to do more. I'm gonna learn more. So tonight I went to a adaptation of Black Panther. It was a play at a local high school. It was a great play. It was original. It was all original music. It was impressive to see. I guess it was like a church group. It was impressive to watch a church group put on this performance. But I remember, because I was with two of my kids. One is 7, one is 6. I remember when we first walked in, we sat down and I looked around the room. And I noticed right away, I just looked at all the people and I noticed everybody was talking and smiling and laughing, and everybody was just carefree. It was a great kind of environment. It was real positive, and I couldn't help but think, why am I thinking all this? And I could feel the discomfort. It's like, why can't that be me? Why can't I be comfortable? Why can't I get up and go spark a conversation with that person that looks interesting? Or I heard speaking to somebody else and they were involved in an interesting conversation. I don't know. For a while there, it kind of bummed me out being in this auditorium full of people who were all talking to each other, and maybe they knew each other from outside of that place, but I guess that's kind of always on my mind when I'm in a crowd of people. I just observe everybody and just watch how freely they speak, and I guess a large part of me wants that. A large part of me envies that part about people. But then
I quickly realized that I wasn't being present in the moment, and I had to kind of bring myself back and be more present and be there with my kids and interact with them. That train of thought I thought was much more important than kind of looking around the room and wanting to be engaged in that, or wondering why I am not. So yeah, hopefully I can continue to share some of these stories and thoughts with all of you. You know, anyone who has an issue, I'm going to be recording every episode in my natural voice. That means there's going to be no editing. I'm not going to make it sound more flown in any way. It's just going to be me and whoever I have on speaking the way we speak naturally, and that's it. So that's my little disclaimer. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And again, please tune in some more to the StutterOn podcast.
StutterOn.